Let's imagine that the Lord appears to you today, and he tells you that he will grant you whatever you want, whatever you desire. What would you ask the Lord for? So just to be clear, this is the God who created the heavens and the earth. He's all-powerful. Just give you one example of how powerful he is. Our star in the galaxy is like a medium-sized star. The biggest star I've ever found is called Big Dog. And our star, you can fit about 96,000 Earths into our sun. That's how big it is. You know how many Earths you can fit into the Big Dog, this other star? 7 quadrillion. Now you're thinking, how big is a quadrillion? I never thought you'd ask. So if I asked you to count to 1,000,000 starting today, it would take you 11 and a half days to count to 1,000,000. If I asked you to count to 1,000,000,000, it would take you 31 years. If I asked you to count to 1,000,000,000,000, it would take you 31,000 years. If I asked you to count to 1,000,000,000,000, it would take you 31 million years. You can fit 7 quadrillion Earths into this one star in the universe. And that God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, appears to you and says, "What do you want? What do you desire? I will grant it, whatever you ask." What would you ask for? Every one of us has a hierarchy of values. And by that I mean every one of us has like a pyramid in our minds of what's most valuable in life and what's less valuable and less valuable and less valuable. And if we didn't have this hierarchy of values in our minds, we wouldn't make any decisions at all. It's just part of life that all of us value something above everything else. And if I were to ask you, what is your highest value? What do you desire above all things? What should you desire above all things? What would you say is for you? What's your highest value? What do you desire above all things? And the gospel reveals to us what we should desire above all things. And Jesus tells us these 2 parables, the parable of the treasure buried in the field and the parable of the merchant in search of fine pearls. And he says this man goes out and he finds a treasure buried in a field, and then says he hides it again. And then this is the key line. It says he goes and out of joy sells everything he has to buy that field to get that treasure. Or the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls, and when he finds the pearl of great price, again, he sells everything that he has to get that pearl of great price. The word worship comes from the Old English word worthship. So whatever you worship is because you think it's worth it. Does that make sense? So I was recently at this coffee shop, and I was talking to this woman who works there, and she said, "Do you have like a church?" And I said, yes, sort of. I said, "I'm the pastor of St. Teresa's." She goes, "Oh." And I said, "Do you go to church?" And she goes, "Oh, no. I'm not religious. I just always thought you were kind of a nice person." I was like, "Oh, I'll tell my mother." Anyway. So she's like, "Oh, no, I'm not religious." And I said, "Oh." And I said, "Do you want to hear something provocative?" And she said, "Sure." And I said, "I actually believe everyone is religious." I stole that from Thomas Aquinas, by the way. I said, "I believe everyone's actually religious. We all worship something. We all value something above everything else because we spend our lives seeking something. So whatever we seek, we think it has worth, therefore we worship it. So in life, it's not a question of if I will worship something or not. The question is what or who I will worship, because I have to worship something. Every atheist worships something. Every agnostic worships something. We all worship something. We just can't. We're religious beings by nature. That's just how we're made. Somebody said life is like a coin. You can only spend it once. But you have to spend your coin on something. And whatever you spend your coin on, that's the thing you worship. That's the thing that you think is most valuable in life. How do I know what I worship? Again, what am I willing to sacrifice for? This person found this treasure in this field, in this parable, and they sell everything they have out of joy to get that treasure, to get that field. The merchant who finds the pearl of good price sells everything else. He's willing to sacrifice everything else he's found up to this point to get that pearl of great price. What are you willing to sacrifice for? That reveals what we really worship. And when Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is Jesus himself. He's actually the pearl of great price. He's the treasure in the field that when a person finds it, they sell everything so that they can buy that treasure. And to be known and loved by him, to have an intimate relationship with Jesus, is the ultimate desire of our hearts, whether we realize it or not. The God who created all of the heavens and all the earth, the God who created Big Dog, that we can fit 7 quadrillion Earths in, which is one among billions of galaxies, and each galaxy has hundreds of billions of stars. This God wants a relationship with you. He wants you to experience what it's like to be known and loved by him all the time. That his relationship with you would be the most important relationship of your life. That your identity as a person would be inextricably bound up with your relationship with God. That's the desire of his heart. That's how much he's pursuing you. The first paragraph of the Catechism says that at every age and at every time, God draws close to man. He's always drawing close to you and to me. He wants a relationship with us. He desires it more than we do. There's this song by a Christian artist, his name is David Crowder. It's called Deliver Me. And in it he says, all of my life I've been in hiding, wishing there was someone just like you. But now that you're here, now that I found you, I know that you're the one to pull me through. Like his whole life, I've been hiding. I wanted somebody just like you, who was merciful and good and wanted a relationship with me, that I could be known and loved, that you're greater than my faults and my weaknesses, that you've actually conquered death, and that in a relationship with you, I taste a love greater than sin and death. My whole life, I felt I couldn't be myself because I didn't know that existed. But now that I found you, I found the pearl of great price, I found the treasure in the field, I would sell everything for that, just to have that relationship with you. That's the kingdom of heaven. And the Lord wants that for every person here today, right now. And do you believe that? Do I believe that? How would we know that that's true for us? That the kingdom of heaven is the highest value in our hierarchy of values, that it's for us the pearl of great price, it's for us the treasure buried in the field. Well, I'll just give you a couple indications. One is that question I asked you at the beginning of this homily. What did you ask for? You know? Was it just for you? Did it have to do with your relationship with God? Did it have to do with building the kingdom of heaven? Or is it just something you want? The creator of the universe, what would you desire? I want to win the lottery! Today! Yes! And that person I don't like, if you could have them get met by a Phoenix City bus, I'd really appreciate it. I'm talking about killing them, Lord. Is it just for me? It's just what I want? Or is it something bigger than that? Because God asked that question, of course, to Solomon in our first reading, and it's astonishing. He could have asked for anything, and he doesn't ask for anything for himself. He says, God, you gave me a mission. I'm the king of these people, but he keeps calling himself, but I'm your servant first. And so give me a wise heart to discern right from wrong. I just want to do your will. I just want to stay in relationship with you. That's the desire of my heart. You're the pearl of great price. That's all I want to do. That's what he asked for. Would we ask for something like that? If we would, that's a sign to us that it's true for us. That for us, God is the pearl of great price. He's the treasure buried in the field. And the second thing, of course, is what do you sacrifice for? Because in the parable it says, out of joy, he goes and sells all that he has to buy that field. It's a joyous thing. He's not thinking about what he's losing. He's thinking about what he's getting. And he's willing to give up all of it to get this thing, you know? And if you don't have, well, before I get to that, I don't know who said it. Lots of people have said it. It's a famous adage that said, if it were illegal to be Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict you? Does your life evidence this relationship with God, that he's your highest value? Would there be enough evidence to convict you? And if you don't have this life-giving, intimate relationship with Jesus in the midst of his church, or you're not sure if you do and you want it, I would just say very simply, just keep asking for it. You just keep telling Jesus, I want to know you. I want you to be the center of my life. I want to know you. I want to know you better. and I want you to be the center of my life. You could say that all the time. You have a quiet moment in your car at a red light, you're walking down the street. I want to know you, and I want you to be the center of my life. And what you're saying is, I want you to be the pearl of great price in my life. I want you to be the treasure hidden in the field. I'm seeking you, Lord, because I know you're always seeking me, so I want to seek you back. And I'd like to close with the story about a saint. A saint is somebody who's found the kingdom of heaven. They know themselves as being known and loved by God. They found the pearl of great price. And the story is of St. Thomas Aquinas. And this story reveals to us what the heart of somebody is like who's found the pearl of great price in their intimate relationship with Jesus. And Thomas Aquinas had just got done writing this beautiful treatise on the love of God. And when he was done, he went into the chapel to pray, and he was kneeling before Jesus in the tabernacle. And as he's kneeling and praying, he hears the Lord say to him, "Thomas, you have spoken very well of me. What would you have for your reward?" And he responds, "Nothing but you, Lord."